Hello, love angels. It's your girl Shamika for God's Glory. I am here with a special bonus episode for you all, and I guess it can be a testimony Sunday video. Just have to share with you guys some things that I've been going through lately that you guys have heard about in previous videos, kind of sporadically, but it has all come to a head, so to speak, and I'm just so excited and happy for what God has brought me through, and I just want to encourage someone today. And I'm going to be completely, and I mean completely, transparent. So I've expressed in the past that I was dealing with a soul tie, an ungodly soul tie. And some people who are watching this are probably like, how do you get a soul tie? Just so you know, I'm not sexually active. I'm waiting till marriage. Sorry, I just want to make sure I want to give away some things, but not too much. But that's to say, some people hear about soul ties and assume that you have to have sex in order to form one, but you don't. Your spirits intermingle. When you're around the person all the time, you start to just kind of inherit people's habits and things like that. So I was dealing with that with someone in my church for about a year or two. Now, mind you, this is all coming from me. I don't know what he dealt with. Maybe it wasn't as strong. But it was an issue of, it's so crazy, today's message at Great Island Cathedral was, is it love or no? Or is it love or not? And honestly, thinking back, it was never love. I don't know if it was lust, infatuation, obsession, but it definitely wasn't love. Because one thing I learned about ungodly soul ties is how is God getting the glory out of that. When I was in that situation, you know, you guys know I'm a positive person, and I would continuously self-talk, pray, just keep myself positive, surround myself with positive people, and getting positive encouragement from my loved ones. But sometimes it just wasn't enough, and I was just I had this like warfare in my mind, this battle. So like a lot of the topics that have been chosen really did speak to me. And when I told you guys that I'm encouraging you, I was speaking to myself as well. Like when I say that, it's not a joke, it's serious. And it was a serious thing for a while, and it's hard because I never dealt with that. So I dealt with church hurt on a different level. And I sing in the choir. This person is also part of a ministry, so I saw them often, and we were going through a whole thing of dating and not dating, and then we were friends, but it seemed more than friends. I tried to detach myself, he kept staying in the situation, and then vice versa. It was just a toxic situation, looking back, I can honestly say. And it was something I was just trying to hold on to, and I felt God saying to leave, but it was like, I don't want to. And it's like that picture that I'm sure a lot of you have seen. It's like one of my favorites, where there's a little girl, and she's holding this little teddy bear, and God has this huge teddy bear behind him, and she's like, but I don't want to let go of it. And it's like, if you just let go, you can get what's bigger and better, and what I have in store for you, what I actually have for you. I reached a point in my life where I want what God has for me. I don't want what's meant for someone else. I don't want to be unhappy. I don't want to be in a toxic situation. And of course, friends and family looking on the outside, you kind of look at people and you're like, but why? What do they see in this person? Why are they going through this? But you can't help it. I was seeing a Christian therapist, not for just that, for other things, but that was one of our topics. Like, it was something I was really dealing heavily with. And I think what was making it harder was the fact that we're in the same church. In the past, with people that I've dealt with, it's like, out of sight, out of mind. And that's how I was able to just get over things. But it was definitely more of a challenge. And I said, okay, God is definitely challenging me in this, and I know I'm going to come out with an amazing testimony when this is all done. And I have it, and that's why I'm excited to share this with you guys today. And it's like, I have to get it out now because there was some new things that transpired. So I'll try to just make this short. But I ended the soul tie like officially in October. I had to pull the person to the side and tell them, like, this has to end. And I've tried that in the past, but it was like we kind of kept coming back to one another. Like, we would separate for a few months and then go back, and we just had this what I thought was like chemistry. And we were going to school together and carpooling. It's like I saw this person all the time. He was in a situation that I wasn't ideally wanting. But I said, okay, maybe this is what God has for me. It's so funny now thinking back. I used to say, maybe God wants this for me. Maybe God wants this. God knows the desires of my heart. And it wasn't that. And it was like, because I was holding on so long, and I'm like, Shamika, how long are you going to hold on to this? The longer you hold on to this, the longer you're going to delay your blessings. You're going to delay what God has for you. And I was tired of that. But it was so hard to really get out of it. Like reading positive books and praying. And I had all the resources, but it wasn't enough. It was like, I couldn't get this guy out of my brain. I'm just like, why? And I knew he wasn't good for me. I knew we weren't good for one another from early on. I knew that, but I would just kind of hang in there. Or you see the potential. We fall in love with the potential. That's another thing. I thought that I loved him. I expressed that I loved him. Thinking back, like I said, that was not love. Because one of the things we talked about today in church, we were talking about God as love. And, you know, love should be reflective of God. And that situation was not reflective at all. And I'm just in a so much better place to be able to even talk about this with you all. Like I've talked about it with friends and family and, you know, taking it step by step, day by day. And it's still going to be a day by day thing. But if you guys already know, like I used to feel like the devil was trying me. Like this situation, just to give you an example, I would separate. And we would still kind of see each other in church, or people would see us. They would assume we were married. They would assume we were together. I would have this hope, like, see, maybe we are meant to be. This is just me being completely real and transparent with you guys. And I was like, oh, maybe he doesn't know what he's talking about. But when a man or a woman tells you something, believe them. Or when they show you who they are, believe them. Early on, I used to feel something. I'm like, and I told him once, I was like, you and I are just meant to be friends. And I tried to walk away, but maybe in that time I wasn't strong enough to walk away, or he was very persuasive. Needless to say, I was in a different mindset. I have grown so much. Like I wouldn't have put up with not half, any of the stuff that I put up with then. Nothing abusive or anything like that, but there was a lot of hurt involved that he may not even be aware of, just how I was treated. And at one point I said, I was like, maybe one day I'll get an apology. You know, because I did express some of the things I felt. But sometimes if they don't know, they won't apologize. But then it got to a point, like I felt like I needed that for some kind of closure. And just today I said, you know, you think about like you want an apology, but you never know if you're going to get it. And I said, I was like, you may or may not ever get that, Shamika. But today it hit me. I was like, you don't need his apology. God already healed you. Love lifted you. You're good. You're healed. You don't need anything from him, from that situation. Like, but that it was a learning experience and it was a growing experience. And I was talking to my friend the other day about God's perfect will and his permissible will, because I feel like there's different paths that we have. You know, it's if you want to follow the sinful ways of life, you got that path. If you want to be obedient and be more godlike, you go that way. And just side note, I looked up my name once, and Shamika means godlike. So I was like, wow, look at that. And I always want to reflect God in everything I do. And you guys know everything I do is, I want it to be for his glory. Like if he's not approving of it, I don't want to do it. I check in now with God first on everything. I always had a relationship with God, but it's nothing like now. Like I hear him more now. I really sit and take time to find out what it is God wants from my life. When I wake up in the morning, instead of talking, like I said in previous messages, instead of talking about me and what I want, God, what is it that you want from me today? How can I be a blessing to someone today? Show me the path that you have for my life today. My whole mindset, y'all, is just like, so fast forward to more recently, so I ended that soul tie in October, but it was the hardest thing. But I knew you might as well hurt a little bit now, or a little more than a little bit now, than a whole lot later. And I knew it was something I needed, and it was the first step in me now getting what God has for me. But in that situation, he walked away like it was nothing, and that was what was hurtful. It was like, wow, this means so much to me, and you just able to just walk away. Although I know guys sometimes can hurt, but they deal with their hurt differently. So this was the first time, no turning back. It wasn't like every 2-3 month thing. It's been now since October, since he and I, you know, we've seen each other at church, but it's more like a wave, or, you know, we just smile, but it's crazy. And then for a little while, I did stop going to church, my church, because sometimes you just need a little, what I needed was a rebuilding of strength. I needed God to kind of rebuild that armor so that when I go back in there, I'm in there with this full strength, not dealing, because we unfortunately have to deal with certain situations, but I don't want to deal with it and feeling like I was weak. I wanted to be strong and just like go in head on, and just, so I needed that moment, because sometimes you just need time to just get away. So, of course, I know I love my Lord and I need my messages. So I was just going to different churches, and, sometimes you go to different churches, it helps you appreciate your church so much more. And I never want to be that girl that left because of another guy, because I've heard of situations, even in our church, where people did things and people left and that church hurt, in regards to like love and relationships. And I was like, I love my church and I'm not going to let anyone or anything keep me from it. But it was definitely, y'all, a struggle to be up there. Just imagine yourself singing in the choir and you have to see that person every Sunday, and you're trying to get over the person, but you're constantly seeing them, or they're calling. And I had to tell him, like, no more calling, no more this, like, you're not helping. And he knew that I was trying to get over it, but it's like he still had a foot in. And that's where my therapist and I used to talk about. She's like, what is it about him? And I was like, I don't know. And I had to be real with myself. And I don't want to go too deep into that. But, sometimes things stem from things you experienced when you were a kid, or maybe self-esteem issues you felt, or always feeling the need to feel something. And in that situation, me looking in, if it was anyone else, I'd be like, girl, get out of that. But for me, it was like I was already so deep in that I learned so much after, and I have all the skills. But then it was like trying to get out of it. All right, hopefully I can kind of explain this a little bit better. I had all the resources and I felt good, and I would never do that kind of thing again. But I was already in this too deep to just walk away. So it was like, okay, it was just more of a challenge to get out of it. And then we have like mutual friends, and they would ask when I see him. If they see me, they're like, oh, how's so-and-so? And I'm like, in my head, like, I don't know. So it was that challenge. No certain family members was challenging, and here, yeah. So this was something that I've never dealt with in the past. For some people, you're lucky if you can just kind of walk away and never have to see them again. But that wasn't my situation. So I knew that there was going to be a strength lesson in that. So recently I heard, that he was with, okay, another thing too, women and our intuition. Oh my gosh, that gut feeling. He told me once about a woman that he just kind of was cool with. And he said something one day and was like, oh, yeah, she and I were, we're cool. We kick it. No lie, y'all. After I heard kick it, I'm like, and ever since then, and when I found out who it was, I would all of a sudden, when you don't know about somebody and you know them, then you know how you all of a sudden see them all the time. I started to see her, and I would have in my mind like, oh, what if they're talking? Because what it was with me in that situation, I wanted to be with that individual, but he couldn't, and was saying it wasn't going to work, but I was trying to stay in something that didn't work. Then I knew it wouldn't work. He knew it wouldn't work, so we were trying to be friends, but our chemistry and just how we were with each other wasn't, it's like we couldn't be just regular friends. So I just got to the point where I'm like, okay, I can't keep feeling like this, so you probably just are not supposed to be in my life, period, because the things that was going on just mentally was just exhausting. So I had found out recently that there was like a trip and he was with the individual. So that definitely hurt, because, it's like when when that gut feeling comes true, it's like you feel like you got kicked in the gut. So it hurt, but it was also like, okay, at least now you know. Mm-hmm. So then fast forward, there was a day, and sometimes we do this to ourselves. I told you guys I'm being so real with y'all today. I was leaving church, and I happened to see him with her, and I was walking from behind, so he didn't know that I saw her, but he was holding hands with the person, walking to the car, opening the door, and I remember, and I'll be honest, I cried, because it was like, wow, because you start, just as a woman, sometimes you're like, wow, what is it about them? What is it, what wasn't it about you? And why didn't it work? And you start thinking back. And I got myself together real quick and was like, you want what God has for you? That's not for you. And even in that situation, I would see him talk to women over time, and it would always kind of, you would feel kind of like, well, you said you didn't want to be with anybody, so why are you talking to this one or that one? And I was like, you're gonna always have this feeling every time you see this man with somebody, so that ain't for you. That ain't. So then fast forward, and all of this is still the healing process. Also, when you think that you're over something, and then the devil comes back, and he's like, let me throw that at them and see if they're really over it. It was one of those situations, months, and I've been fine. And then it was like this boom, and I'm like, what? And I learned too that it's not that you didn't get over something. It's just that, when you've invested something, your heart is in something, it's not always so easy to just be like, okay, whatever, I'm fine. Like, you can fake it till you make it all you want, and I'm a true believer of that. But sometimes you just got to be real and be like, I guess I wasn't as over it as I thought, like in life, like we think that we got something down packed, even with me and eating and my lifestyle, and I learn new things every day. So, the same thing applies with that. But I'm just so happy, like they were saying in church today, like if I didn't have the Lord by my side, like we'd be crazy, we'd be this and that. If I did not have God by my side, and in these moments is when I just felt so much more closer. And I was like, oh, this was big. I was like, he never, I know when I was talking to my therapist and we were trying to figure out what it was about him. I think you just wanted to be chosen. Like, you just wanted to be the one that got picked. And I thought to myself, I'm like, Shamika, you're chosen by God. God chose you from day one. That's all that matters. And when we learned today too, God is more than enough for me. Like, until God blesses me with who he has for me, I'm having so much fun. Like, there's a true blessing in being single. I'm really enjoying my single life. Of course, there's moments when you want to date and just go out. But my best friend actually told me the other day, she's like, until you feel like you are really ready to have someone in your space all the time, maybe you are doing what you need to do and kind of just doing you. And I do feel like God is working on me still. And there's so many things in store that you guys will be hearing about soon that I can't even focus on that. And they say too, when you're walking in your purpose, that's when he comes. So, I want what God has for me. So I'm going to keep walking in my purpose. And I'll be sharing a new testimony with you guys soon about that. So fast forward again up to today. Oh, no, not even. Let's see. Yeah, this is like the real for Shamika today. But I'm just happy to share this with you all. I really am. I have no regrets or anything. Otherwise, I wouldn't be doing it. But I found out recently, and this is, months later, a friend of mine called me, and she's like asking if I'm okay. Because she thought that I knew about what she was about to tell me. The person who I'm talking about recently got engaged. And it's like, oh. Because, I told you guys that I had just ended things just a few months ago. We've seen each other, and I've never, like, I knew he was talking to someone. You know how we have that gut feeling? But never thought that it was already, like, engagement. And it honestly didn't bother me. Of course, it was a little, like, I was taken back, like, okay. But I was already in that place where I was already over it. But even when, like I said, you're over something, it's still like, wow. Okay. So now it's putting myself in that new mindset. And I'm sorry, I'm getting all these messages on my phone. And then just processing it that way. But it was also like, the nail in the coffin. Like, you already knew it was over, Shamika. Now I'm just really closing this chapter, letting you know. And the person that it is the person who I had the gut feeling about the whole time. Even in a previous relationship, my ex, before him, there was a woman that was involved in that situation, and I've always felt like he would end up with her. They're together now and with a baby. So it's funny how our gut tells us, but I'm excited because I know out of all of this, God has such an amazing blessing coming my way. And I knew that already, but it's just like sinking in more. So today, I went to church and I was in the bathroom and I saw who I don't know for sure who the woman was because I found out that he was getting engaged by someone else. So when I saw the woman who I think it is, she kind of just looked at me like a deer with headlights. And I'm like, why is she looking at me like that? And I smiled and I said, hello. And then she just stood back and like she wanted to tell me something. So I don't know if she knew me or if he said something to her about me or what, but I just said hello. And I looked at her and in my mind I was like, I had to reach a point because there was a moment where, you don't want to wish the person well. Like if they hurt you, you want them, not that I wanted him to hurt, but it's like if you end it with a guy, you want to be the first one to move on before them. So at first I had to hear that. So it was like, oh, great. Okay, so he moved on first. I had to deal with that whole situation. But, sorry, my thoughts are like all over the place because I'm trying to think. Okay, so I saw her. Oh, this is what I was trying to say. That I wasn't in the place where I can end it with him and then see him with another woman and be fine with it. There was a point where I was like, I don't know if I can deal with that. God put me in that position because even though I was good and I was healing, I didn't think that I would be hearing about him getting engaged. But had I not ended the soul tie earlier, this could have been a whole nother situation. So God was already preparing me and showing me, different things like that, like with the walk. And when I heard he was with someone, so it was like he's already telling me in my mind, like, this is it. So I said hello and left. Mm-hmm. And then later on, I'm sorry, I'm getting all these messages today. I saw him in the hall. He smiled at me and he walked over to her. And one of my good friends I was with, she's looking at me and she's trying to get me to walk the other way. And I was like, I'm good. I honestly can say I truly wish him the best. I do. Like I want what God has for me. I want what God has for him too. Like I can't be mad or selfish because soon God's going to reveal who he has for me. You know what I mean? So, okay, I just want to make sure because I took notes because I didn't want to miss anything. In the Bible where it says, come to me, all ye who are weary and heavy laden, and I'll give you rest for your soul. In different seasons, and look, I'm talking to you guys, no lie, I just saw my ex's dad's car pass by, no lie. So, I used to take that in certain seasons as, okay, Shamika, you're doing too much, you need to rest, just rest your body. But I look at that now as like, rest your soul, rest your mind, come to me who are just heavy, just with emotions and just stress, and I'll give you rest. Like he wants me to rest. He wants my soul to be peaceful. He wants my soul to be at rest. So I just looked at that differently. It's like different seasons in your life. You start thinking about things that you've known about for years or talked about for years, and all of a sudden it makes sense. Like the song says, and we'll understand it better by and by. So when I saw her, I don't know, I was like, I'm free. No lie, because I'm like, it didn't affect me. I just saw her, and in the past, like I said, you would see someone and you would be like, oh, what do they have? I looked at her, she's a beautiful woman. I can't say that she isn't. And I was like, and so are you, Shamika, and you have so much in store for you, and you are so amazing, and whoever God has for you is going to be so amazingly blessed. But I just had this like different confidence. I gotta say, this 80-day obsession, like I told you guys, wasn't just about physical and emotional, about physical change and transformation. It was emotional, spiritual. This has tackled, like, given me peace and happiness and joy in every aspect of my life, including this, and just showing me that I can do anything. So once we started singing, the first song we sing is Free Worshiper, and I wanted to cry, but God was like, you don't need to cry. Those tears, and it would have been happy tears, but it was like, you don't even need to do that. And I just want to sing the song a little bit because I've been singing it my whole ride home. I'm a free worshiper. I'm a free worshiper. I'm a free worshiper. Lord, I'm free. I'm a free worshiper. I'm a free worshiper. And I'll fast forward to, I'm free to dance and sing, free to lift my hands and worship. Lord, I'm free. Lord, I'm free. Free to dance and sing, free to lift my hands and worship. Lord, I'm free. Lord, I'm free. And as soon as we started singing that, I was like, oh my gosh. And then our second song was Newborn Soul. Just because he died for me, shed his precious blood on Calvary, I'm a newborn soul. Today I'm free, right now I'm free. So it was just like everything we were singing was just like, it was, I don't want to cry right now, but this journey has been so exhausting, guys. And there were days when I really didn't think that I was gonna, like, I knew I would make it, but I was like, is this really gonna be on my mind every day? Is this really what it's gonna be? I can't deal with it, Lord. And he got me through. He's getting me through each and every day. But these are happy tears. I just want you to know I'm not sad at all. I'm free. I'm truly, truly free for the first time. I can honestly say. I didn't want to do that, but as I told a friend earlier, crying is cleansing, and I'm a newborn soul. So, yeah, let's see. Just want to make sure I caught everything. I told myself last week in church when I saw him, I was like, Shamika, just start looking at him like another guy. Like you randomly just look at people, look at him like that. Why is this blurry? Hopefully it focuses back soon. Okay. And I did. And then sometimes you visualize the person you were with and now they're happy and they're with this one or that one. And I refocused, and this is what I shared with my god sister, and she really wanted me to share this testimony too because she felt it was really powerful. In that moment, for the first time, instead of me worrying about what he was doing with her and vice versa, I closed my eyes and I started imagining me with the guy God had for me and all of the amazing things. Like my whole journey with my health and wellness, I feel like is preparing me for he has for me, because I feel like that person's going to be, like, we're going to be equally yoked and we're going to be in line together with that. Like I was picturing us jogging together and making meals together and cuddling and watching movies, like I just refocused my thoughts. And it was so amazing. And I could have done that before, but I wasn't in that place. It's like my mind would just stay on that one thing. It was just beyond amazing. And in that moment, I was already like, wow, Shamika, look how easy you were able to do that. And it just put this calmness. But also, I'm already at the finish line. So here's like the finish line, and I'm all the way over there already. I'm like right by it. Let me see. Sorry, just want to make sure. Oh, and I also wanted to say that it was kind of like from like last week to today, God has been like erasing the hurt. He's been erasing all of that pain and everything that I went through. Like even in the loss of my dad, he was there. And I think that was what helped me, why I held on also, the potential. He prayed over my dad when my dad was in the hospital. He did like those small things that's like, wow. So you saw that potential. We used to eat together and pray together. And I wanted a man who loved the Lord and prayed. But just because a man, and I'm not saying this for all men in the church, but I was like, oh, I want a man who's a man in the church. But not everyone in the church is necessarily for you. I'll just leave it like that. I won't even like touch, because that's a whole nother topic. Okay, let me see. I feel like I just lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, I was just saying that he did a bunch of that in the potential. But yeah, so it was like I'm not ever gonna forget the lessons that I learned in that. But he's definitely been removing the pain and the hurt and those old memories that used to keep me up at night and give me nightmares and things like that. Like I'm really free. The joy that's in my heart, the fact that I'm able to share this with you guys, the fact that I spoke for almost a half an hour on this. And I truly, truly wish him well. I really do. And in a way, thank him, because something they talked about the other day on Get Up Mornings is that you can't appreciate joy until you go through pain. And the fact that I went through all of that, and half of you guys are probably watching this shocked because you would never know looking at me, because I'm always smiling. And I was telling a friend today, sometimes you gotta smile from crying. Not that I wanted to cry, but I really truly am just a happy go lucky, genuine person, and I just push through no matter what. And I try to find a positive. Well, not try. I guess I should say try. But there's a positive in every quote unquote negative situation. So that's just how I live my life, and that's what's helped me get to this point. And I'm just happy that I didn't give up on me and that I didn't give up on God. And I guess the last thing I just want to leave everyone with is, thank God I'm free, and I'll never be bound again. Thank God I'm free, and I'll never be bound again. Thank you all for watching this episode. I pray that it encourages you and motivates you. I truly do, because I wouldn't have shared all of this if I didn't want it to really bless someone out there who could be going through the same situation that I was in. But I just wanted to let you know that you are an overcomer. You can do it. With God, all things is possible. With God, all things are possible. I love you all. Thank you all so much for watching this bonus episode. Please, if you enjoyed this, please share with a friend, family member, loved one. And that's all I'm going to leave you all with. Happy Sunday. God bless.